Hello? If anybody there. Power. Mute the mic. Hi, come on in, guys. Thank you for coming tonight. Who is that? Lioncrest, Farmer Q is in the house. Thank you so much, sir, for being here. And I'll speak to everybody else momentarily. Hi, Xenia's World. Okay, let me see if I can pick up the live chat comments. Yeah. Hi, Grandma Groves. Homestead in the Hood is here. Siobhan is here. Miss Quindy's Playroom, thank you so much for being here. Susie Polidor is here. Andrea Lucas. Eartha Dominique, hello. Myra McCain. Good to see you, Myra. Karen Witherspoon. Gardner 99. Erica Taylor. And Sheila Wheeler. I think I'm pronouncing that right. At Home with Cherie, thank you for being here. Bougie Prepper is here. And I think I spoke to Xenia's World Best Yet. Thank you for being here. Lorraine T. Kay Lacey, Antia. My moderators, I'm throwing you all some sugar. Barb Brownlee is in the house. Ann Dale. Homestead in the Colony is here. Jean Dudley is here. Shawana Ruth. Veggie Farm Garden. And I think I spoke to everybody else. I think I did. Okay. Let me get my other phone up. I hope I put on Do Not Disturb. I don't know if I did it on the other phone, but hopefully nobody will call. Because remember last week, Bria called and my live just ended. It froze and I couldn't get back on. I'm trying to fix my hair. I was always rushing. I was watching Best Yet Journey, the Whoop Whoop show. And then I'm always rushing. I had to do a lot of stuff before I got started today. If you don't know, this is the anniversary of my first, well, it's the second anniversary. It showed up in my live stream. I think it's the first anniversary of me going live. Hey, how you doing, Bobby Wilson? Good evening. Just doing a little of the shea butter deal on me. Okay, let me tell you what I want to talk about tonight. I'm looking at my other monitor. First of all, I want to say thank you all. Some of you all have been with me from the very beginning for the first anniversary of my live shows. I think I only missed maybe one. No, maybe two while I was on vacation. And the other thing I want to tell you that a lot of you all have been emailing me, and some of you are in my Facebook group by the same name as my YouTube channel. You've been emailing me pictures of your Texas Star hibiscus. Some of them are budding, some of them are in full bloom, and it just melts my heart every time I get a picture. So keep them coming, and everybody that is sending me photos, I am going to give you rooted comfrey cuttings late winter, early spring. I'll start rooting them in the winter during in my greenhouse. And then on some Monday nights, you have opportunity to win some cuttings. So if you haven't won any yet, don't worry about it. You have a chance. Because I'm going to be sending a lot of them. And I'm asking for people if they will donate to my Cash App or my PayPal. I hope it's okay to say that. because it's going to take money to ship those off to you, and I'm not asking you all for any money. I need to build up some funds for the shipping charges, and you'll get a tracking number. And let me just say real kindly, as nice as I know how, if I root them for you and you receive them and they die, I'm sorry. I'm not going to be resending them out again. I'm just a straight up type of chick, and I'm telling you up front, because I had a lot of issues with the seeds not germinating, and some people were sweet enough to let me know. I say sweet, honest, whatever you want to call it, to let me know some of the seeds that they couldn't germinate during the winter all of a sudden germinated. Hibiscus seeds are slow to germinate, and I didn't want to tell anybody how to scrape the seeds or nick the seeds in case it was their first time and they did it wrong. And out of the 10 to a dozen seeds, and a few people, if real liked your name, she gave you more than a dozen seeds. So eventually what I'm trying to say is, I just told everybody to be patient and just let the seeds do what they do. And some people got a little frustrated, but it's August and people are telling me that seeds are germinating. So never give up is the moral of this story. Okay, let me get back to my notes. I'm not going to call the names out again who got the seeds. You all know it. If you send me an email and I said you're on the list, it's up to you to email me your mailing address. And if one of my moderators would so kindly put up my email address, I certainly will appreciate it. And moderators, I'm asking you all not to worry about the cuttings. You all going to get some automatically. Don't even try to play the games when we do have the contest, okay? Now, I just want to tell you all that I have been so blessed. I started growing fruit trees five years ago. Yeah, 5 years ago. But I did grow fruit like strawberries and blueberries, and I told you all about a year ago my landscaper accidentally threw my blueberry plants away. His wife did, but that's another story. I haven't replaced them yet. But so far this year, I have been blessed to, hi Ty Lily, to harvest some strawberries. And if anybody have a question, wait toward the end when I ask you, and you're going to put them in all caps. The way it's formatting and how they're coming in so fast, I'll miss it. So I'll let you know when it's time to put your questions in, if you would be so kind and be patient. No, I'm not bragging. I'm just stating facts. Within that 6-year period, 5-year periods with the fruit trees, I was growing strawberries and blueberries. And this year, for the first time, I harvested plums. And I've shared all of this, what I'm getting ready to tell you all in a video. And I think by the end of the fall, September, October, when I harvest the last of the fruit, I'm going to do a collage of all the fruit God has blessed us to grow. So we had strawberries, and we had Methley plums, we had Concord grapes, but I have to disclose that I got black rot disease on the Concord grapes, so it wasn't a big harvest. We got elderberries, and I harvested elderberries just yesterday. I'm still making syrup. And we harvest apples, even though I lost 5 apple trees. No, even though I still have 5 apple trees, I lost 3. I had 8. And what's for you is for you. Because my biggest, best producing apple tree died, the God sent me another one. Can you see that? Look how big that apple is. All of the apples are not this big. I'll move back. 1/3 of my face. All of my apples are not this big. Some of them are small. But these apples are bigger than the biggest tree producing apples. This is bigger. Ain't got good. I was devastated when that Gala apple tree died. I'm not going to buy another one. I'm only going to purchase, if I buy more trees, what produce well in my area. So just because the online nurseries or big box stores labels tell you something will grow good in your zone, my zone is 8A, you have to factor into the equation that 8A carries a large zone, and there are different humidity numbers, there are different amount of chill hours, there's a difference in extremely hot temperatures, there's a difference in extremely cold temperatures from area to area, in all within that 8A zone. And we with below freezing temperatures that we normally have by having a 3-degree temperature in February, and also we had excessive amount of rain April, May, June, more so than we normally have. And in spite of everything, my golden delicious, let me move back to that ring light, it's making it look a little different. That golden delicious apple still produced for the first time. Now, those of you that have orchards or fruit trees, you know I'm excited because the first year that your fruit produce is not your most productive year. It gets better and better. So I'm excited. Okay, now I want to also share with you that today Brian and Bria came over and we harvested our kefir pears. That tree is 5 years old, and it had blight. From what I read, Googled, and researched, I was giving my soil too much fish fertilizer, which was nitrogen. And let me clear up something once and for all, and I'm never going to speak on it again. When I say I don't use fish fertilizer, I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I'm saying that my soil is so rich because I've been gardening for 30 years in one spot, I don't need the fish fertilizer. If it's working for you, please, by all means, keep using it. And I'm not knocking any content creator or any person that uses it. I determined from research that I caught fire blight in the majority of my fruit trees because it had too much nitrogen. So I stopped using it, and I kept cutting them down, to finally today, Brian and I harvested our first, I'm gonna move back so you can see it better, our first harvest of kefir pears from a tree that went totally brown with the leaves, a dark brown. And when I trimmed that tree 3 years in a row, I didn't give up on it. I destroyed the branches and the leaves in the trash. I did not put it in the compost because that would spread the blight. So I think the little kids today counted them out. I think we got 27 apples, and I'm going to show you, well, we ate a couple before the harvest. And we found three of them on the ground that were too ripe. And the squirrels, rodents, whatever, got climbed up in the tree because only one was on the ground yesterday, one was on the ground today, and the other two that we found, and I'll show it in the video in a couple of days, were still in the tree. They were climbing up the tree. And I know the difference between a bird peck. So it wasn't a bird like they did some of my plums. This was a squirrel, possum, or tree rat. But anyway, we got nice pears, and this kefir pear, if you go to Stark's website, because that's where I bought it, it tells you that you can harvest them between August and October, depending on your zone, and you should harvest them when they're green with a little tinge of yellow. And that's what I have here. Now, The ones that were eaten off of or gouged out or whatever, those are the ones that were on the tree too long. They started turning a little bronze. So just like you're watching your fruit, the rodents are watching it too. And they will tell you when it's time to harvest. Okay? Because the ones that were bit off of, they weren't like this. They all had a bronzy, like a burnt orange color to it. They were too ripe. And this kefir pear is not an eating pear. It's not a table pear. It is a canning and preserving pear. It's hard. It's real durable. You harvest it when it's green with a tinge of yellow. And you want to process it and can it. And you know it's an acid. So you can water bath can it. And you can add sugar to it if you want to. You guys know that I'm pre-diabetic, so I don't do all the sugar thing. So I'm just going to can it in half pure pineapple juice or apple juice. And that's it. Okay? So it'll be healthy for me, and I won't have to worry about my glycemic level going up. All right. Hold your questions. I'm going to go through my little presentation, and I promise you for the rest of the time that we're here, I'll answer to my best ability any question that you may have. And if I don't know the answer, I know where you can find the answer, and it's not just Google. Okay? Because sometimes Google is wrong. Okay. So I still have something I want to share with you. It tells you when you research jujubes that this is the color. I'm gonna move back so you can see. This should be the color that you can eat them when they're their sweetest. This is how they look, and I purposely picked a big one to let you know they have varying sizes. But when it starts to get ripe, and it will dehydrate and shrivel up some. But this is how the average jujube on my tree looks. This is the first year for this fruit too. A $5 tree I bought off of Facebook. Then it starts to turn a little bit like this. Okay? And then it starts to look like this. I think you can see it better against my skin. And then finally, it'll look like this, and it'll keep getting darker and more shriveled, more dehydrated. But I found that I like them better like this. I'm not going to let them all get this color and this dehydration state. Even though it is the sweetest, I'm going to eat them here because I noticed some of the ones that I opened up, and you can see that little seed there. Some of them were turning dark in the inside and had a little bitter taste. So I don't know about you guys. Any of you that grow jujubes in the room, let me know what you think. But I think I would prefer them like this. Take the seed out. Even make jam or something with swerve or monk fruit or stevia or something like that. You all let me know. But my tree is loaded. I was on a 6-foot ladder. I think I misspoke in the video and I said 10 feet ladder, but it's not. It's 6 feet. And I was a little nervous with Brian and Bria. You know, they couldn't help me if I fall. So I have a son who's 6'4", and I'm going to ask them to come over and get those jujubes for me. I'm not going to wait until they get all crispy and hard. Okay? So now that leads me to what I still have left to harvest, jujubes. I still have persimmons, fuyu persimmons. I do not have a tree that's loaded because it was slow to bounce back from the 3-degree temperature in February. But I thank God for what I do have. It might be a dozen. I'm at the point now I don't even count the fruit. Because I'm going to tell you, if you're new to gardening fruit trees, if you keep counting your fruit, the wind blows some off or whatever happens to it, you get really disgusted. So I stopped counting the fruit until the day of the harvest. But I would estimate it's about a dozen or more fuyu persimmons. And then I have a Yates, and that tree is 5 years old. I think, 4 or 5. And I have a Yates persimmon that I bought from Stark Brothers, bare root, and it is 4 years old, and it was just a switch, a little thin sapling. And it is an astringent tree, and guess how many fruit is on it? 1 that I can count. But that's okay, because it takes a long time for persimmon trees, because they have long tap roots that go way in the earth and pull out, kind of like the comfrey does, and pull out nutrients. You never even have to fertilize it. I've only given the Fuyu persimmon tree comfrey fertilizer 1 time, both of them, the Yates American persimmon and the Fuyu Japanese persimmon. I've only fertilized it once a year in the spring with a little comfrey tea. Okay? So if I just get 1 piece of fruit off of the Yates, I know in the future I can expect more. So you have to be patient to be a gardener. You have to dream and expect produce in the future. It's not going to come overnight. And also, I failed to put on this list, and it ran across my mind real quick. I got a nice amount of Sunglow nectarines and only 1 peach from my Red Haven peach. And all of those trees were purchased bare root from Stark Brothers, and they had a lot of fruit. A couple of my cherry trees did the same thing. But next year, I think we'll get more peaches. I think we're going to get more pears. I think we're going to get more nectarines and apples than we did this year. And I thinned the peach tree because I watch a lot of videos, because I told you guys I have a sleeping disorder. It is not sleep apnea. I'm one of those people that don't sleep for a long period of time. So when I wake up, I just start watching videos, YouTube videos, and a lot of people have had peach trees in particular that were overloaded with fruit, and they propped them up. Some people did, and some people didn't, and then they broke off the first time they had a strong wind or a storm. So anybody in here that lives in the Dallas area can tell you it was 97 degrees today, but the winds were moving about 20 miles an hour. No rain. So we get high winds all the time. So what I did with my Sunglow nectarine tree that was loaded, I thinned over half of the fruit. Okay? And I mean, it was good. So I didn't can any of that because it wasn't enough by the time my grands and children got it. But next year, I'm really looking forward to it. So as I said, we've got Fuyu persimmons, 1 Yates persimmon, and we have muscadines. Muscadines didn't do well this year. We got over 10 pounds last year. You guys that have been with me for a while know that I made muscadine wine. I think I'll barely get a couple of pounds this year because they were slow to grow and to bud out, you know, and then it got real hot, so that kind of made it stagnant. So I'm not worried about it because I have faith that they're going to come back. Okay, so that wraps up the fruit. So this leads me to what I want to share with you now. I'm moving on. I only got a little fruit to do, and it's getting cooler early in the mornings, the 70s degrees. So I'm going to try to get up and can something almost every morning, and I'll be bringing you those videos because I'm just honest. I told you all I'm not going to be canning for a while because it's just too hot. So I've been noticing that it's a little cooler in the morning, so I'm going to get up and try to water bath can or pressure can something at least twice a week. But I'm moving on, and I want to show you my seedlings. This is the great white tomato. It's actually a green tomato, and I have 3 seedlings growing here, and that's what I'm going to be growing in the fall and winter in the greenhouse. And here I'm growing that red mushroom tomato. I have 2 of them growing here that I'll separate, and it's like a big basket of all kind of odd shapes tomatoes. I bought the seeds a couple years ago. I never tried this one. Thought it'd be a good time. And here I just brought this one out to show you how wonderful my field peas are doing. They have a real vigorous root, so I put them in a larger container. And I'm growing striped green beans. They're germinating. I'm growing about 4 or 5 different types of kale, collards, mustards, mustard spinach, Bloomsdale spinach, red Detroit beets, golden beets, red lettuce that hasn't germinated yet, and a few peppers. I think I'm doing the Ozark jumbo pepper, and this is stuff that's going to be growing in the winter. Okay, because I grow 365 days of the year. Even when we got the freeze at 3-degree temperature and all the snow, and those of you that, I always say, you've been with me for a while, you saw that gazebo thing fall down, but the snow acts as an insulator, and those crops still survive. So I'm doing rainbow taxoy, rainbow Swiss chard. I'm also growing, it ran across my mind and I forgot just that quick. But I got a lot of stuff growing, and I'll be sharing it with you in videos. Okay? All right. Now I got 2 more things to tell you about. That the elderberry syrup is doing very well. I do notice that this is the one I water bath can. It has sugar in it for my grand angels. Even though it has sugar in it, you have to shake it up. Okay? The next thing I want to share with you is the one with the honey in it. This has the alcohol in it. You have to shake it up as well. Sometimes the honey tries to separate from the alcohol, but it's delicious. And then this one, if I really can't sleep, something's bothering me, I'll take me a tablespoon of this one. This is the extra strength vodka in this one. And these weren't water bath cans. I just want you all to know that they're holding up well. Bria's cough is almost all gone. And we had another version, because I just showed you those 3. We had a refrigerated version that I didn't water bath can. Some here and some at her house. And then I told you guys that I was going to, I think I told you in a video or a live chat that I was still working on the hibiscus honey. I decided to make it more creamier. Let me move back so you can see it here. And I put it back in the blender, and I made another batch, and I turned the hibiscus flowers into hibiscus flour. Instead of just little pieces and bits, I grinded it up. I'll show it to you in the video. And I turned it into a flour. Then I added to a cup of hibiscus flour. Not just the flowers, but ground to a flour. I added 1 cup of honey, creamed it, then added another cup of honey. And I like this consistency better because it doesn't separate. Now, some of the honey will float to the bottom. I mean, that's just normal. But I like the way this looks instead of having particles around in my tea. And so I did the same thing to the turmeric. And these are just pickles or pasta jars that I've collected during the years. Some of you may know, some of you may not know. Some of these jars, you can put the balls lids if they fit. But these don't have to be refrigerated because there's no expiration date on honey or the hibiscus dehydrated flour or the dehydrated turmeric in the honey. I just put it all in the blender and creamed it again. And the only separation that you see of it is the black pepper. The black pepper brings out the, I think it's curcumin, something like cumin. That's the richest part of the turmeric. But this is good for inflation. So I just want you all to know, I've been seeing on Facebook, little 4-ounce jars, $16.99, $18.99, of the same things that I'm making here, okay? And you can do it too. And then I did the same thing with the minced garlic. I put it back into the blender and just made it a little bit more creamier. And I like this better. And and this one doesn't separate at all, the ginger and the honey. And it's real creamy. I just laid it on my shrimp for my stir fry. I've been eating a lot of shrimp. I don't know why. But I haven't been eating too much other meat. Okay, and last but not least, Brian and Bria helped me to harvest my stevia today. Some people call it sweet leaf. And you can see, let me put it right here. You can see that it's being extracted. And what I use to extract it is the same thing I use on my skin. I used to make the facial wash. And I use food grade glycerin. And for those of you that don't think for those of you that are not convinced that I make my own product, I do. I don't order anything from a pre-made manufacturer. I order gallons of ingredients. So this is food grade. I'm very particular about what I put on my skin for anti-aging, and if I get enough interest, and I have received some interest, I'll start making my skincare for anti-aging available for you to purchase. I just need to know if people are interested. I don't want to be buying gallons and gallons of stuff and I don't sell it. But I'm 67 and I know, and I'm not bragging, but I know I don't look my age because my mother was a midwife. Anybody got sick, anybody had a baby, my mother was there. And I grew up in a house where we didn't put soap on our skin because it dries it out. Sulfates, it makes your... I don't want to get all into that. That wasn't on the agenda today. But I'm just saying. And then my years of training as a cosmetology educator, salon owner, beauty school director, I don't put soap on my face. And I'm not going to tell you everything I put in my facial wash, but glycerin is one of the things that I put in my face wash. And it is food grade, and it's kosher, it's organic, it's outstanding for using in homemade soaps, bath bombs, shampoos, and it has what is called humectants in the glycerin, and humectants attract precipitation or moisture to your skin. Okay? So if you already perspire a lot, if you move around like me, it's going to attract even more. Okay? But you can use this in your food process. For those of you that don't know, you can take glycerin and put your vanilla beans in it and extract it instead of doing it like I did with vodka and bourbon. You can do the same thing. And of course, you would add distilled water. This can last you about a year, but it has to be refrigerated. Okay? Unless you extract the stevia with alcohol, like vodka. Okay? Then you can leave it unrefrigerated. But this, I'm going to use glycerin because I don't want to have alcohol in everything that I'm going to use this stevia for. And let me just also tell you this. You all know I have kidney disease. And everybody in my family ends up on dialysis when they're about 60 or get a kidney transplant. And I'm trying to avoid that. And I don't want to claim it, but it's kind of inevitable. And if you take medication for kidney disease, just like with everything I tell you guys about medicines, always check with your physician. Because my research taught me that a overuse of stevia can affect your kidney disease medication. So I would only be using this in the morning, just a little bit to sweeten my tea in the morning. Okay? Always check with your doctor. Now, I'm going to share one more thing with you, and then I'm going to leave the floor open for your questions and answers. A couple people emailed me and told me that they weren't financially ready to buy this special that I offered last week. And this is my hair milk #2 selling product and my total body oil. If you order both of these by midnight tomorrow night, both of these, you will automatically get the pain cream free. That's a good deal because this is $12.99 and you have to pay for shipping. You just pay for shipping and handling and these two items and you'll get this one free. And every gardener I know needs some pain cream because we do a lot of crunches, leg lifts. Who was that? Andale was talking about, she went live for the first time, guys. And go check out her channel. And Gail I see her in everybody's live. And she went live today. She did a test and she was just so happy because she didn't know if anybody was going to come in her live or not. And I was just tickled at her being so happy that people came to support. But see, that's what it's all about. You support people, they will support you. I I try to watch as many videos as I can. Sometimes when I'm bogged down with orders, I can't watch the whole video, but I try to come in, catch something, and leave a comment. And if the video is less than 10 minutes long, or 12 or 13 minutes, I watch the whole video. But it's 38 minutes, I'm not gonna lie to you. I can't possibly watch them all, doing everything that I do. So getting back to Ann Dale, she was just really tickled, and she just made my heart sing. And so go check her out when she, channel, especially when she goes live, because I don't think I've been in a live and Ann Dale wasn't in it. Whether it was Broke Farmer 76, I mean, I can go on and name people. And today we had a wonderful Whoop Whoop show with Lydia Best, and she did highlights from all of the guests that she had on her 8-week show, and I was very fortunate to be one of the guests, and she brought that to the attention of the people that were in the live today, that she wasn't really sure that I was going to do it or not. I'm just regular folk, y'all. I just try to support and help everybody, and I hope that in return that you all would do the same for me. And be yourself. I'm just going to be me. Now, I'm going to say something some people may not like, but as gardeners, I don't want you all to shop and get caught up in panic buying. Be careful about what you are prepping and storing. Are you storing food that has a whole lot of hidden chemicals and artificial ingredients in it? On that can or that box, do they have words that you can't pronounce that they disguise? For example, in hair products, they'll say SD40. If you don't know what SD40 is, you may have dry hair and you don't need to put a product that has a whole lot of alcohol in it. SD40 is just a term for alcohol. And so if it is the second or the third or the fourth ingredient, SD40, that hairspray has a whole lot of alcohol in it. And you putting it on your hair every day and you wonder why your hair is getting drier and drier and drier, because you just like pouring alcohol on it every day. So a lot of these canned goods, box cereal, crackers, all this stuff, it's good to be prepared. But I'm suggesting to you to grow your own food and can your own food, so that if the power goes out, and I share with my Facebook group, and I think I shared it in Ann's live today, that I made soup today that I'm going to pressure can tomorrow morning. It'll go in the refrigerator tonight, and I'll cold pack it and put it in a pressure can of cold water and bring it up to the right temperature. I used chicken bone broth that was canned in 2018 and tomatoes, whole tomatoes in juice in that soup that was canned in 2019. And I used chicken thighs that I canned March 2020, and all the vegetables that I have been growing during the summer that I have blanched and froze. And I put it all in this soup. Even the canned bone broth is going right back in the canner again in that soup, and it will be labeled August 21. Everybody with me? So rather than go out and buy a whole lot of food from these grocery stores, I'm telling you, grow your own, eat your own. You can do it. I always say it's not hard. Sometimes it can get a little hard, but you got to learn how to work smarter. I was real impressed with, I think her name is Denise Garden. She's moving stuff up kind of high, her grow bags and stuff, and it was somebody else too. I can't think of it right now. And I was saying, you all young and you doing this, I wish I had done it when I was your age. Don't wait until you're a senior citizen to make new beds and new platforms up high, so you don't have to be doing a lot of bending over and down on your knees when you get a little older. Start doing them now, okay? All right. So I hope that I covered everything I wanted to cover. I did. Pretty much. All the plants are special. And now the floor is open for any questions that you may have. And let me go and look at the feed. Who is that? Brampton Gardner. Until, yes. In case of an emergency, who cares? But if there is no emergency, you have to keep turning over the products because they will expire. So it's great if there is a disaster, but if not, I'm with you. That is exactly what I'm saying. All this processed food and stuff that you're buying is going to expire. Now, they have some of this. I've seen something on Facebook where they said all this food can last you for 25 years, freeze-dried or whatever, kind of like rations that they give out for the military. I'm not going to argue against that. But is it wholesome? And there you go. I want you to know that what I'm drinking today is called Bubbly. I get it from Amazon Prime. They deliver within 2 hours. It's pineapple flavor with other natural flavors. No sugar, no sodium, no artificial sugars or sweeteners. I can't do any of that with kidney disease, okay? I like to share with you all. I'm always drinking some type of seltzer water. Okay. Denise Backyard Gardening said, yep, that was who I was talking about. I can garden while sitting. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. When I made those platforms with the sawhorses, it was for people. I was telling them, if you know somebody in a wheelchair and they used to garden, maybe they had a stroke or something, I don't know. But I know if they have that love of gardening in them, it never leaves. Who was it? Something OCD-ish chick. Fill in the first blank, moderators. The question was asked, was she going to have a garden? She said, until I'm dead. Once you have a love of gardening in your heart, guys, it doesn't go away, even if you become disabled. So if you know somebody that's disabled, it's a way for them to garden and feel useful. Okay? Who is that? The life of an OCD-ish chick. Thank you, nephew. Broke Farmer 76. She said that in her video. I watched this morning when I was watering my plants. All my seedlings are in the house right now. Okay, somebody said, have you fermented garlic? Yes, I have. But I prefer it fermented just with the honey, because honey never expires. It never goes bad. Unless you put something in it to make it go bad. And Dale says she's in zone A. When do you plant garlic? It's September and for our zone. Thank you, Barb Brownlee. She's telling everybody to hit that like button. I thank you. And Barb Brownlee, I'd like to make you one of my moderators. You're here almost every week. I'm adding you as a moderator. If it's too much for you, send me an email, and I might consider removing you. Really, anybody that I choose, they never say that they don't want to do it. Okay, hey Renee, how you doing? It's good to see you. Dig, plants, and grow. Homestead in the hood. She was the one that asked me about the fermented garlic. Okay, Grandmama Grower said, can you make juice with the elderberries or just syrup and tinctures? Yes, you can. You can. If you don't have any health issues, you can drink you maybe 4 ounces of of elderberry juice to boost your immune system, but most people use it as medicine. Okay? All right. Okay, dig, plants, grow. The next time, sweetheart, please put your question in all caps. I'm sorry. What herbs, okay, do you suggest for beginners? Basil. Basil grows very well. Rosemary, because it survives. It gets better like the 3rd or the 4th year. Okay? Depending on what zone you in. But you should go to farmersalmanac.com, put in your zone, and then put in what herbs are easy to grow. They'll tell you. But from my experience, dill can be a little fickle. Parsley, I mentioned basil. I got it on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of it for Spanish rice and tacos. Come on, guys. Somebody tell me what I'm trying to say. Gosh, I can't think of it right now. If you email me, I'll give you a list. If somebody put my email address up. Okay? What kind of hibiscus do you use for tea? Okay, Brampton Gardner. This has been a subject of a few people emailing me. It is my opinion from the research that I've done, any hibiscus that is organically grown, you can use the petals for flower petals for tea, providing it's not on some list that is a dangerment to your health. So most hibiscus, especially cold tolerant hibiscus that are perennials that come back every year, can be used to make the tea. And I've been talking about hibiscus way before it got popular. So now you're getting hibiscus juice and hibiscus tea in the grocery stores, and now they're incorporating it into honey. But I've been doing it for about 6 years, growing the Texas Star hibiscus for 4 years. Okay? All right. Let me make sure. Thank you, Auntie is telling you all to put the questions in caps. I'm going back and then I'm going back down to make sure I didn't mix anything. And I use the Texas Star hibiscus because it comes back every year. It gets more prolific every year. I gave hundreds of seeds out last year, and it even grew back even when we had some people in Texas are calling it the Armageddon freeze or something like that. Even when we got that 3-degree temperature and we didn't have any power for a long time, it still came back. Yes, somebody corrected me. That's I think it was Broke Farmer did it. Somebody asking me about my Cash App. Moderators, will you go in to one of my videos and put it in there for me, please? Because I get confused. I get confused of what it is. Okay, Yankee Sister, great question. She wants to know, what's the difference between fermenting and pickling? Fermenting is when you in a very sanitized environment, you wash your vegetables and you put them in a jar and you let them do what it does. It ferments. Pickling is when you make a brine for veggies like cucumbers or carrots or jalapeno peppers or whatever you do. Anything pickled. They pickle eggs. They pickle pig feet. And you make this brine and you pour it over into your solution and then you water bath can it. And your brine has to have the exact measurements either in your Ball's canning book or Amish canning book or the Food and Safety, Canning and Food and Safety Administration. It has all the recipes online. And it has a precise amount of 5% acidic vinegar with the right combination of water that will allow it to pickle. So you're changing your vegetables from an alkaline state from 14 to 7, which is neutral, to an acid state, anything below 6.9. Because everything acid, which is usually your tomatoes, all of your fruit, all of your strawberries, elderberries, apples, pears, jujube, persimmons, oranges, lemons, okay? All of those are acid, and you can safely water bath can them to kill off pathogenic bacteria. Vegetables, on the other hand, are on the other side of the potential hydrogen pH scale, so they are alkaline. But if you pickle them with a 5% precise measurement of vinegar and water, it's safe to water bath can them. Fermenting I can't get really deep into that. It's like how they make sauerkraut without putting vinegar on it. You feel me? Or what is it, kombucha? Where they have a SCOBY and all that. It's fermenting, okay? It's a little bit different than pickling something with vinegar. I hope I answered your question. Thank you, Andale. She put that app up if you didn't know that. Yeah, I have that Best Yet. And I have PayPal as well. And I don't know if I'm should be able to mention that or not. Because there's so many rules and regulations. Thank you for the answer of the garlic. I live in zone 7A. I've never had any good luck planting garlic. Okay, next question, guys. I see something about potatoes. Okay, here we go. Hello, Miss Cheryl. That little blue arrow in the way. I found a sweet potato loaded with growth in my pantry. What time of the year is sweet potatoes planted? Miss B. Washington. I think my most watched video on my YouTube channel answers that question. I found, I want to say 3 or 4 sweet potatoes in my pantry a couple years ago. And the sweet potatoes came from the store, the grocery store. And obviously they weren't inoculated with a chemical. See, guys, let me share this with you. Sweet potatoes are grown maybe a year before you even get them in those big box stores. The farmers grow a whole lot of them, and they have to all be between a certain size and fit a certain mold, like bananas, apples, tomatoes, everything. But potatoes in particular, they inoculate them with a chemical unless they are sold as organic. It prevents them from sprouting. Now, a lot of people are into organic foods. So you have Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, Aldi's, which is a German company that came over to the U.S. and found a good niche. And they're selling organic food at an inexpensive price when you want to compare them to Whole Foods or Trader Joe's. Well, they are not inoculating the sweet potatoes so they can sprout in your pantry. So anytime you have one that sprouts in your pantry, it doesn't have a chemical on it that stops it from sprouting. Okay? So you need 120 days to grow sweet potatoes. So what you're going to have to do is figure out where you are, what zone you're in. You don't have to tell me. You can do this yourself. And then you're going to have to count back to from the first frost date and count back to your day to see if it's worth your while growing sweet potatoes. Because you need 120 days for them to produce an average size sweet potatoes. Go back and look at my videos and you can see I pulled out some monsters. Okay? My grandkids just have fun harvesting sweet potatoes. So I'm in zone 8A. I plant mine in March. But that video that I told you is one of the highest rating video that I have, or viewed video that I have. I didn't have that long because I think I found the sweet potatoes in July or August or something, and I had to harvest them before the first freeze. And if you don't know this, your sweet potatoes, if they are left in the ground or a container with a temperature 32 degrees or lower, they will rot. You can harvest them, but they're not gonna, and try to cure them, but they're gonna be yucky. So you need to harvest them before you get your first 32-degree temperature. And also, you need to look up how to cure them as well. And I've got videos on this, okay? I was going to say something else. Oh, my sweet potatoes. Right now, it's 97 degrees, okay? Every day this week, it's going to be 97 degrees. Then I think we're going to finally get a little bit under 95 or whatever. But we still can get 100 degrees all the way to October. 1st October. I know one time Halloween, kids had on little short sleeves because it was hot outside. Well, my sweet potatoes are growing, but they're weak, meaning the leaves are because of the extreme heat. Once it cools off, they're going to take off, and then they'll start flowering, and then they'll start producing more rhizomes, because a lot of people don't know this, but sweet potatoes are not actually sweet potatoes. They're roots. Higher on the hull, that picture, documentary I asked you guys to take a look at that was on Netflix last week. It brings that to your attention. And then if you are pre-diabetic or diabetic and you start doing some research, the nutritionist will tell you that you can eat sweet potatoes because they don't have that carbohydrate load that white potatoes have. They're mostly a fibrous vegetable that doesn't raise your blood sugar up too much, providing you don't add sugar and syrup and honey and make candy yams and all that kind of stuff. And we make candy yams out of sweet potatoes, but sweet potatoes really aren't yams. Watch that movie, High on the Hog, and it'll explain all of that to you. Okay? So Miss B. Washington, go back and watch that video that I talked about growing sweet potatoes from store-bought potatoes. I was successful at doing them. Hi, Helena Taylor. Good to see you here. Okay, I'm looking for the next question. A series on Netflix, right, Antia? I watched it all in one sitting. I was so thrilled about it because it's not like you think. It's not going to be like slavery and all that stuff. It's not like that. It just shares with you the culture that the slaves and people in the South brought to this country and cultivated into famous cuisine and where it started. For example, yams don't look nothing like sweet potatoes at all. The original yams. Okay. Did I speak to Angela Bolden? If I didn't, hello, dear. And if I didn't speak to Girly and Yankee's sister, I see you all speaking to each other. And I just want you all to know that I'm happy that you're here too. Antia says, I would probably save a lot of money if I could grow monk fruit. Girl, don't you know I Googled that too? And it's tropical. It's tropical, and I'm getting too old, and I'm going to probably sell my soursop trees. Because I'm telling my son, I'm getting too old to be struggling with these trees, bringing them in and out. Because the soursop is good for preventive measures for cancer, but they can't take a temperature under 40 degrees. And so sometimes I dip a little bit below 40 in the greenhouse. I have to bring them in the house during the winter, but I think I'm going to end up selling them. This is my 4th year. They haven't fruited yet, and I grew them from seeds. But I did research monk fruit, and I said, oh no. When they told me about the tropical and the temperature, I don't remember exactly what it was, but all I could think of, another couple of trees like the soursops. I can't do that anymore. Okay, here's Broke Farmer. I got some Society garlic from the nursery. Is the root real thick? No, sir. I started off with 3 Society garlic plants from Lowe's and 3 from eBay. And now, I got Society garlic everywhere. And it really, I outlined in my beds, my garden beds, and it really helps with repelling insects. Okay? All right. Hi, Growing with Hudson. Okay. Is there a question, moderators? Did I miss something? Thank you, Barb Brownlee and Tia and Andale and Lydia and Love Notes. And that's your journey from, that's Lydia and Andale. Asking everybody to please hit the like button. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I'm just going back and making sure that I didn't miss a question. Yes, and Dale is loaded with tomatoes. Beautiful, beautiful tomatoes. And Antia is just second the motion about what Brampton Hart Gardner said about eating all that junk food. Hey, Rhonda Moffitt, thank you for being here. Yeah, eating all that junk food. And Rhonda, I know she's a cosmetologist too. I get a lot of compliments on my instructional videos because they know that in order for me to get that close, nobody's filming me. And I'm doing everything with my left hand so that I can film in my right hand, which is my dominant hand. And I'm not even-handed, ambidextrous, whatever you call it. But because I taught beauty school for so long, I had to manipulate the curling iron, do everything with my left-handed students to show them how to do it, that I build up my dexterity in my right hand. So, left hand. So that's a gift. So I try to stay in my lane. I don't try to act like anybody else out here on YouTube. My videos get watched and I get subscribers. I know it's because God has blessed me with the ability to communicate and to show things close up. Who is that? I think it was Broke Farmer, my nephew, my internet nephew said, when he first started watching my videos, he said, who is this lady? And she ain't even showing her face. But she real in there, real close, showing you what she doing. That's my passion. That's me. I can't do all the jokes and sipping and all the other stuff. That's not me. I'm an educator. Whether it was Sunday school or it's teaching somebody how to make some candles or showing somebody how to grow stuff, how to pot up a seedling. I'm an educator. But I'm not an educator that think they know it all. Because I'm going to mention a lady tonight. I have a lot of respect for her. And her is Cherie. At Home with Cherie. I saw her using those peat pellets. And I stopped using them about 6 years ago. Because every time I would take one out, the mesh fabric out, the roots would be all broke. And I noticed the hers wasn't breaking up. See, so I'm not too old of a cat that you can't teach me nothing. Do you understand where I'm coming from? So I emailed her. I either emailed her or on her comments. I said, what kind of those? What kind of peat pellets are those? Where did you get them? Then she sent me a link and I ordered them. And guys, all of this was grown in those peat pellets that I said that I would never use again. So, don't get so hung up that you think you know everything, that you cannot be wrong and things can change. For example, another example. I don't believe in all the fancy grow lights because my shop lights work just fine to get my stuff to grow. But I'm not telling you don't buy the fancy shop lights because they may work for you. But I've invested all this money. I don't have to buy anything to grow, just medium, soil medium, because I have all of this stuff. So what I'm going to do is just throw all of that away and get the new fancy smancy grow lights? No, mine work fine. So there's some things you don't need to change. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But if you see somebody is doing something and it might be an easier way for you, what's my song? Grow your own, eat your own. It's not hard, you can do it. You want to find an easier way to do it. And what I have found is those peat pellets. Here's one. They are condensed. Move back like that. They condense. See how small they are? And y'all know they're going to swell up like that. Whatever they put them through the system to smash them and get them dehydrated like that, I haven't seen one gnat in my house. Do you hear me? Now, I can use the Jiffy Seed Starting Mix and sanitize it, not sterilize, sanitize it with boiling water, and I still have a gnat egg to get through there and multiply. But I haven't seen one yet. Then I use the Vigoro potting mix. I water from the bottom. The surface is dry. Y'all see that? I water from the bottom. It's going to be in the video coming. And I know some of you seen me to do it before. But you got to remember that we got a lot of people that are new to gardening. So just because you've seen me water from the bottom before, my newbies haven't. Okay? So we keep that surface dry here, and that prevents if a gnat should come in with my banana order from Whole Foods, it won't have a chance to operate and multiply on a dark, damp place because this is dry. And I keep the fan on it. You put the fan on it to blow the gnats away if you have some. I don't have any. And also to mimic wind in my last video. I was a little surprised I didn't get hardly any views on that video. Because they probably look at the pot up and go, oh, I know, I've seen them do that before. But it might be a tip in there this time that it wasn't in there. Or you might want to share it to somebody who's new to gardening. But it seems like, I'm not going to say it. I was going to say, it seems like people are not interested in the basics, the ABCs. They want the razzmatazz and the show and the tell. And that's not me. I'm an instructional coach. That's what I do. And I'm not going to change because I know it's my purpose. Everybody find their lane and stay in it. I will never have a big channel. I just won't, because I'm going to show you how I do it. I'm not going to entertain you. Okay? Unless it's something funny that Brian Bria does. Okay. Okay, Zena World says, store what you use regularly. And I assume she's talking about canning or prepping. That's right. I eat fresh. So I can a lot of soups. I can meat without a lot of fat. I can fruit and vegetables and pickles. That's what I do. And I can take some cans and make anything out of it. Or I can just take my soup and heat and serve. And I showed you last week, and they were hit this week, I made muffins out of coconut flour, almond meal, almond flour, eggs, a little swerve, natural sweetener, no calories, no glycemic raisin index. Did I say eggs? I'm lactose intolerant. Coconut milk, a pinch of baking soda, and a pinch of baking powder. And Bria and Brian tore them up. Muffins. I'm experimenting. So none of that white glucose, what do you call it? Carbs that give you sugar, diabetes. I'm cutting all that out. I want to live. I want to live a long time. So that junk food and stuff gotta go. Here's one of them right here. My almond flour. You gotta learn how to cook with it, guys. And the muffin tastes just as good as those real sweet ones. I like the almond flour so much that they had it on sale on Amazon that I bought another one. And I got them all in mason jars with these caps that I got from Amazon, and it has a rubber ring in there to keep it sealed tight. Let me show you. Oh, you just almost saw it. See that? Almost come out. A little ring in there. So it makes it really, really tight. And coconut flour lasts longer, has a longer shelf life than regular bleached wheat flour. But it's really not good for you. Okay. Robbie Island Duncan, thank you for being here. Grow your own, preserve your own food. Slowly but surely, I'm getting there. I'm so happy for you. I told you guys that and who said that? Bone broth is so packed with good nutrients. I still have 10 jars left. My bone broth was from 2018 that I put in the soup today. And when I did that little pop, you can hear it when it pops. And then it smelled like I just canned it. Okay? It's a beautiful feeling. Because when you have all these different issues, health issues, you got to read those packages. A lot of that stuff in there you're not supposed to be even eating. Let alone you can't even pronounce it. Okay. I'm just going back and making sure that I didn't leave anybody out. Girl, Kiki Soto. Cook you some, get you some salmon. Brush that honey garlic on both sides. Put the skin down. Put it in your air fryer. That's some good eating. Salmon and shrimp are my go-to meals. And you just need like a teaspoon. And take your little brush and, your cooking brush or pastry brush. And girl, it is so good. It is so good. Okay, cilantro. That's it. Thank you, Kiki. I was trying to tell that lady. I knew it started with a C. I couldn't remember. That's very easy to grow. Cilantro. Some people say cilantro, but it's cilantro, parsley, and basil. The young lady that wanted to start off with some vegetable herbs. Start off with those three. And rosemary is a sure one to go to. Yeah, I'm getting all of the answers now. Bobby Wilson, thank you. Jean Dudley, thank you. Cilantro. Oregano is okay. I find it to be a little bit harder to grow. I don't know about you all, but I don't even like oregano. I was growing oregano and trying to make the tea because it's supposed to be so healthy for you. I'm not a fan of oregano. It tastes a little bit like soap to me. And I don't like a lot of cilantro either. Basil and parsley, rosemary are my go-to herbs. Besides, garlic and red pepper flakes, black pepper, peppercorn. That's what I like. Oh, she said she had her hardy hibiscus for 15 years. Brampton Gardner. Good for you. I bet it's huge. Okay. I think I have answered everybody's question. I'm not going to hold you on here longer. Thank you, Best Yet, for putting that sweet potato video up. Good night, Renee's Garden. Yeah, I tried the monk fruit. I researched it. It's too tropical for me to go. But let me share this with you. I like Swerve in my baked goods. I like monk fruit in... I stopped drinking coffee, even though I was drinking decaf. I used to drink it in the monk fruit. I don't like monk fruit in tea. I like stevia better. And then there's another one that's out. I can't think of the name of it, but it's made with cane sugar. My sister and I were talking about it because she's lost a lot of weight, and about 2 years, she slowly got it off. And she does the keto diet. But she eats a lot of cheese and meat and stuff that I can't. Well, I'm not going to say she eats a lot, but she eats some things that I can't eat because cholesterol, it raised my cholesterol. Okay. All right. No, getting back to Broke Farmer, you can take that comfrey at the, not comfrey, Society garlic at the end of every gardening season, dig it up, put it on a cutting board or a 2x4 or something, and just chop it right down in the middle and divide them. Every time, where there's 1 is going to be 4, then there'll be 8, and you'll see. And you can check some of my videos. Brian can do it. I trust him with a knife to do it by himself. Okay, Sewing with Balance said, can you please answer my question? I don't know what your question is, dear. I couldn't find it. When you type it in real quickly for me right now, I'm at the end, so type your question in, Sewing with Balance, and I'll be happy to try to answer for it. You. Or if one of my moderators can put it in. I don't see it. Thank you, Brenda Allen. Margaret Evans has a question, but it's not in caps. But I'll answer this one. Lady Cheryl, I'm new to gardening. All of my mint plants are dying, I think it's because of too much rain and heat. What can I do for them? Nothing. They're going to come back. They grow back even in the wintertime. Margaret, mine are doing the same thing. It's too much heat. Not enough rain, but I watered, so it's not an issue because of not enough rain. My mint are dying. They struggle in a lot of heat. But believe you me, once it cools down, in fact, for you, Margaret, I'm going to put it in my next video. I'll let you see the mint around the hibiscus. And then they look like they're going to die. But they will come back, I promise you. Okay? Don't even worry about them. They will come back. Okay, Cherie is telling you some of those peat pellets are trash. Go back and look at the link in my video. I think I did that. Okay. Okay, now I'm going back to this lady. I see Ty Lily. Okay. Okay, let me go back. Sewing with balance. I'm going all the way down to the end. I don't see your question, so I'm moving on. If you want to put it in, I'm more than willing. So, here it is. Sewing balance questions. Do you grow collard trees? And if so, can you provide any tips to be successful? If you live in zone 8A and up, I don't recommend it. I've grown the purple tree collards, the kale tree collards, and the regular green collards. Tree collards. Once it gets 100 degrees, they don't like the heat. And all you do is have a big old tree there for cabbage moths to swarm on. So I just let it be a sacrificial plant so they can leave all my other stuff alone. And to be honest with you, I don't like the way they taste. I like the Georgia sweet collards, especially after the frost hit them. Woo! They just have that sweet taste to it. I grow now what I like. I grew a lot of things, guys. Because, okay, I grew Malabar spinach. I don't like it. I grew it 2 years in a row. I rather have regular spinach. I grow what I like to eat. I grew goji berries. I don't like them. My grandchildren don't like them. I grew ground cherries. They grow very well like tomatillos and they fall off when they're ripe. My grandchildren don't like it. I don't care how much sugar I put in and try to make jam. They don't like it. I don't like the taste of tree collards. You may like the taste of tree collards. You may like longevity spinach. I tried that. I don't like it. I tried Egyptian spinach. I don't like it. I just like the regular old kale, Swiss chard, collards that you throw some seeds out, where you start them in your house, and then they grow, and then they bolt, and then they go to seed. And then that's the life cycle. You collect the seeds, and you start all over. I don't like a lot of perennial greens, and that consists of Egyptian spinach, Malabar spinach, longevity spinach, tree collards, tree kale collards. I don't like it. But you may like it. And you may live in a colder area. For example, you may live in zone 4, 5, or 6. And you get cooler temperatures quicker and they don't get that much damage. But collards is not a heat-loving plant. It's a fall and winter crop. And even if you have tree collards in the heat, to me, they just don't taste good. But I've seen people grow them in some hotter climates. I don't like them. I tried it all, guys. Brenda Alice said, Lady Cheryl, can you please put the link in the description? To the peach pellets, I sure will. How do you water your indoor flowers? I don't have any, Simsha, I don't have any indoor flowers. But I do water all of my plants from the bottom. I stick them into, I don't want to have to get up, but I stick them into, let's say, like a little container or a little tote, a shoe box. You know, something that fits this. A little plastic. I put the water in, then I put my pots down there and let them wick it up. But I don't have any flowers in the house. Everything's outside. Okay, I got all of those things. How do you store your strawberry plants during the winter? Straw. Straw. Put nothing but straw on them. I used to put leaves. Then I started buying straw. And I get the easy grow straw. I'll put a link to that in the description box too. Give me a minute, guys. Let me type this up real quick. A link to the pea pellets and a link to the straw. Straw and peat pellets links. And yeah, I used to put a little hoop house over them out of PVC and put plastic on them. Man, wind came and knocked the plastic down. I said, forget it. It's too cold out there. Strawberries still survive. In fact, now is the time in the fall to plant strawberries for next spring. Yeah, that's what I do. Okay, let's see, anything else in here? Something about spraying. Sometimes when you move let me get it again. Sometimes when you move, it goes to, I grew tree collards and tree kales just like collards in 18-gallon buckets, covered for the winter, and they came back. Myra, you don't even have to cover them, they'll come back. My family lives in zone 4 and 5, and they don't even cover them, they come back. They do well in the winter. They are winter crops. Thank you, Deb M, for being here. I see you're saying good night. Somebody saying they only grow the foods that they like to eat. Robbie Allen Duncan. Yeah, I just grow what I like. And sometimes when I first retired, I wanted to experiment and try all these different things because I had the time, because I wasn't working outside of my home business. And I wanted to try all these different things I didn't try before. But after a while, I realized some of it I don't like. I only grow what I like to eat. Who is this? Robbie Allen Duncan. I'm going to plant some Georgia collards in September. That's it, Robbie. Mine are under grow lights. I don't know if you all can see. See a little bit right there. It's plants in the grow light. Excuse my house, guys, because I haven't really straightened up today. See those grow lights? Collards, peas, beans, mustard, turnips, beets. I got it all growing. You'll see. Right now, all I'm doing is trying to harvest fruit and keep my stuff alive. This is not the time in 100-degree weather to be growing a whole lot of crops. People are lying to you, making you think they got a big old harvest in this type of weather, because we can't grow nothing right now except fruit on our trees, okra, peppers, if you shade them, not the okra, but the peppers, sweet potatoes, and Swiss chard, if you shade it. You can grow that all year. Right now, I don't have that much going, but when all you all were just putting your crops out, I was harvesting humongous amounts of tomatoes like Andale. I was harvesting all of that. And some of you said, you got tomatoes and mine haven't even don't have blooms on them. Can't compare with everybody. You have to harvest what grows in your zone. Okay? So right now, when it's 100-degree weather, we can't grow too much of nothing. Who is that Love Notes? She said, yeah, she in Texas. You are right. People keep asking her what she planting now. Nothing. It's too hot. It's too hot. And I got everything covered up with 90 and 50% shade cloth. My backyard looked like tent city. You'd think a whole lot of homeless people was living back up under them tents because it's too hot. But it's going to get better. And when you all having snow and below 0 or 20 degrees, it's not going to be that cold here unless we get something unusual like we did last winter. And even that was only for a week. And then it got warm. It was like 40 degrees. It was 3 degrees, and then it was 40 degrees 7 days later with all those power outages. Hey, Ladybug Palmer. Hey, Quilts and Arts and Tradition. Thank you so much. Yes, Dina, it's Tent City back there. I got blueberries that I bought in spring. They just burning up, even up under the tents. I know that the roots are strong and they're going to come back when it's cooler. Too hot zone. I love it, love notes. That's funny. That's exactly where we live. Okay, so I think I answered everybody questions. Sharisa, I remember when I lived in Texas, my roses bloomed at Christmas. Yes, time couldn't believe it. And summertime, everything was, even the kids' sports center, sports or something, camps. Totally opposite in New York. Very hot here. The bananas, Angela Bolden, are doing wonderful. We're not going to get any bananas this year, but there's over 20 plants. So when it cools down to about 80, I'm going to be going out there and splicing the roots and digging them up and putting them in different areas of the food forest, because it's a whole lot. They have completely taken over the prayer garden. So the prayer garden won't be there next year. I have to move it to another spot. Somebody said something about when to water plants. I saw it, and I was trying to find something else. But I'll just tell you real quickly, whoever that was, you want to water at night or you want to water in the morning. But you want to try to get in sync if you live in the city, like I do, and see when your neighbors are watering. Because if you water in the morning and then they water at night, all of the bugs are going to come over to your yard. And if you notice in my greenhouse, I left the plastic inside the greenhouse at the bottom, just on one side where I share the property line with my neighbor. And they're wonderful neighbors. I can't say anything bad about them. Wonderful neighbors, but I notice that sometimes we'll get off sync with while we water, and there's bugs will come over there. So I like to water every morning. And if for some reason, let's say I have to go to the doctor 8 o'clock, because I have to take like a fasting appointment, so I go early, and I didn't get a chance to water. Then I'll water when I come back. Let's say it's 10 o'clock, and let's say it's 90 degrees. I let the water run away from my plants until the water start coming out at a nice temperature where it won't scald my plants, okay? Don't just take hot water from the hose that's been sitting there heating up in the sun and then just start sprinkling it on your plants. How do you know? Because I've done it and I've killed some plants, okay? And if you water at night, like I said, just know your bugs may go to your neighbor, you know, and just want to be considerate. But we don't share anything on this property line over here, this neighbor. It's just a fence. They don't have any trees going down that line. So if I water in the morning and bugs run over there, whatever, it's not going to hurt them. Okay? Because they don't have a garden. And then on my other side, I have a driveway that separates the other neighbor. Okay? Okay. How are the banana plants doing? Yeah, at home with Cherie. That garden brought those prayer bananas. That prayer garden brought them back. I come out there every day and drinking coffee at the time. And I'll get out there every day and do my little scripture and prayer and be singing, and those banana plants came back. You're welcome, Xenia, about watering. Will you bring the bananas in the winter? No. I usually winterize them with blankets, and I have these mini greenhouses I put over them, or you can do PVC. This time, Xenia, I'm going to throw some blankets on them and call them a day. Pile a lot of leaves and banana branches, because they're not really trees. Bananas are herbs that grow fruit, because they have a soft wood. And when you cut them down, they're full of water, because they take a lot of water. But a lot of people call them trees because they're so tropical and they grow so tall. But they're actually plants. But no, I'm not going to cover them up with, or bring them in the house. I'm just going to cover them up, with mulch, leaf mulch and leaves, and call it a day. Okay. Hi, Lisa. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your compliment. That's what we're here for. So it's been a year since I've been doing this. And I want you all to know that I appreciate all of you. Tanya Lewis said, I learned that watering secret from you, Cheryl, and Lady Cheryl is working. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So if that's it, good night, everybody. Grow your own, eat your own. It's not hard. You can do this. You can do it. You just got to know when to chill. Like right now, I am not working like a slave outside because it's too hot. I do all of my work early in the morning. That's it. That's it. Because I'm not going out there when it's real. I was working so hard today that I couldn't breathe. I had to come on in. Okay? And I'll leave it in the video so you can see what I'm talking about. I told the kids, Bria, go to the refrigerator quick, get me a bubbly. Because I didn't even come outside with my water like I normally do. And I felt like I couldn't breathe. So you got to know when to slow your roll. Grow your own, eat your own. It's not hard. You can do it. If you do work hard, rest the next day. I learned that from an old guy on YouTube. I don't remember his name, but he's 70-something. And he said if you work real hard, you rest the next day. Or don't do nothing real hard the next day. And you know that I love you. And God loves you too. Good night, everybody. If I didn't answer your question, charge it to my head and not my heart. Drop me an email and I'll do the best that I can. Take care. See you next week. Bye now.